Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have some Xfinity Series racing as well as some Cup Series racing on the road course side of things today for the Cup Series side of Watkins Glen International. Coming into now the final 15 episodes of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Unbelievable that we are this close to the end, and then we have the NASCAR 21 game coming out sometime hopefully in September. Still do not know an official release date, and I'm really hoping we get something soon because I want to push this career mode as close as we can to the release of NASCAR 21, but we don't know when this game is coming out because, I mean, right now this series could very well be over within 2.5 to 3 weeks, so obviously, hopefully, by the time the series comes to an end, we have an idea of when the next game is going to be coming out. But here at New Hampshire for the Overton's 200 in the Xfinity Series with Paul Menard behind the wheel, he got off to a bit of a rough start, made a 3-wide move into turns 1 there to get up the inside, and that would allow him to start to move his way forwards a little bit. But he definitely had a rough race now, as it was really just a battle to try and finish in the top 10 the whole time here. So he got passed by the 10 a little bit later there from Quinn Half, and then actually would get back past Quinn Half before the race came to a close as we came through to the final lap of this race. Kevin Magnussen and Quinn Half both just behind Menard here through turns 1 and turns 2. It was Kimi Räikkönen leading the way down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4 for the final time, looking for his 3rd win on the season, which would be like the 5th driver in Xfinity this season with 3 wins apiece. Now is up in front of us. There you see Daniel Hemrick in the one go up on 2 wheels multiple times, and that unsettled his car a ton, and now it would be 3 wide in the middle between Paul Menard as well as Hemrick and Half at the line, and Quinn Half barely got Menard at the line there to get into the top 10. So we end up P11 here with Menard from New Hampshire Motor Speedway as Räikkönen picks up the victory here from New Hampshire. And like I said, I think that is the 5th different driver to win 3 races this season in the Xfinity Series, and that is also the most wins anybody has so far this season, is still at 3. Paul Menard included in that bracket, as well as he hopes to have a chance at the regular season championship now, which we've never done with the Going Racing team in the Xfinity Series. But here on the Cup Series, running a NASCAR Heat 2 throwback once again here for Watkins Glen. This one was made by a community member of Vixen. We had a paint scheme very similar to this made by RJ, but now we have one here made by Vixen as well. That's just a little bit different here and there. Got some key noticeable differences, especially with the number font. We've never ran a different font from the normal 24, but here we are today changing it up to be similar more to the Ganassi one that we had from NASCAR Heat 2 when the one car was slapped on the side of this Chevrolet Camaro. Now, as we came through the bus stop, unfortunately on my qualifying lap right here was terrible. I got really loose out of the bus stop into the carousel. Fortunately, a nice little save there kept the momentum rolling, but it wasn't the greatest qualifying lap I've ever put down. As a 108.725, and that lines us up in the 9th position here for the start of the Go Bowling at the Glen here. So definitely could have been worse, could have been better, hoping for a top 5 there, but we didn't quite get that. But Bubba Wallace on pole with Eric Jones running him on the front row, Justin Haley, CJ McLaughlin, Derek Krauser top 5, and Ty Gibbs, who's had a terrible rookie season, rounds out the top 10 and looks for a spark of hope here today for a nice end to his rookie season here on this NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Blaney Suarez down towards the bottom, and Rajah Caruth and Zane Smith at the very bottom as we get ready to go green. All right, boys, final time at the Glen. Track's been so good to me in the past, so hopefully it's just as good today. I don't see why we can't go out of here with a win and get what the lead of most wins on the season, so let's go do it. There you hear myself on the radio to the team here as we're getting ready to take the green flag. We're not going to have to worry about our arrival of Joey Logano here today, as he's starting quite a ways behind us, and there's no reason he should ever get to us now. As you see, Bubba Wallace, not only is he on pole, but he's been dominant all weekend long, so it's looking very good for him coming into this race at Watkins Glen. Interesting point situation in a battle for those final few spots in the playoffs that I'm going to bring up on the screen here in a few moments time. Now though, as the green flag is out and we are underway here for the GoBowling.com at the Glen, down into turns 1, just trying to play it cautious and safe, right behind one of the road course kings of Chase Elliott. You got the 7-time F1 world champion of Lewis Hamilton up here in the mix as well. We are going to be able to get out of turns 1 and in front of the Mercedes driver, who's right now inside the playoffs, looking pretty good. It's going to need to be an absolute disaster for Lewis Hamilton over these next 5 races if he's going to miss the playoffs now. So heading down the straightaway, I was trying to give Chase Elliott a bit of a push here now as he won last episode, a second win on the season from Iowa. Now as I decided to just kind of lay in behind these guys as we come through the bus stop, because they force it side by side between the Red Bull driver of Christian Eckes and the McLaren of Elliott. But I'm going to follow Eckes here through the carousel. The inside line just going to be the better option to get around one of these drivers, and that one driver we get around is Elliott there as we go a little bit wide out of that carousel. Obviously, no track limits when it comes to NASCAR at a track like Watkins Glen, or any road course really for that matter. Now as we sail it up the inside into the penultimate turn there of the Red Bull driver of Eckes, and we get in front of him, move up into 6th place. Eckes, one of his wins, I think he's got 2 or 3 wins already this season, but one of them came at Sonoma Raceway, so we know Eckes can get the job done at a road course, so definitely could be a threat not only here today, but in Canada here in a few episodes time, as well as the Roval and maybe even Mid-Ohio later in the playoffs in that round of 8 now, as we would now make a pouncing move through the carousel around the outside of CJ McLaughlin there in that 78 car. The only time we ever see that car all season long is at a road course now, as we are usually lapping that car now as we came through into the bus stop with already 2 laps to go. As you guys know, stage 1, 2 at every road course in the game, very, very short. Not a whole lot of time to get stuff done, but Bubba Wallace, he was checked right out, and so was the 16 of Justin Haley, who was checked out, but he didn't quite have the pace to stick with that 23 of Bubba Wallace in that DoorDash Toyota Camry for a 2311 Racing, who was just out of this league at this point. Bubba was setting an unbelievable pace. Right now, he comes into today's episode with 3 wins on the season, looking for win number 4 today, and it looks like right now it's very well likely that Bubba Wallace is going to pick up that 4th win on the season. He has been on an absolute tear lately. So definitely something we're going to have to watch out for going into the end of this regular season, into the playoffs, is that 2311 team. They are hitting their marks, and they got, of course, Derek Kraus running really well right now. And Derek Kraus, he's well inside the playoffs on points. He's practically locked on points. He shouldn't have to worry now. He's right behind the McLaren duo of Eric Jones and Sam Mayer, who have also yet to not win this season, shockingly, but well comfortable inside the playoffs on points. Now, as we try to put the pressure on this final lap to the left-hand side of Derek Kraus, Bubba Wallace already out of the penultimate turn down towards the final corner now as we head down into the penultimate turn ourselves, and we're going to just about be able to get that spot there. We give Kraus the room he needs, try to keep it clean and respectable down into this final turn, give him the opportunity he needs to still fight back at us, and he gives us that fight for a moment, but we have enough momentum right there out of that final turn to actually get clear of the 2311 driver and cross the line for a very solid 4th place finish here in this first and opening stage. But Bubba Wallace right now on another level after that first stage. He was on an absolute tear. Looking at the stage order there, none of the bubble drivers got stage points, so nothing changes. I was going to talk about that before we get into Amped. We will show the playoff situation right now. So Chase Briscoe comes into this race, and after stage 1 is 2 points above the cut line. Kyle Busch is 3 points below. Bowman, the first guy out, 2 below. Todd Gilliland in that front row Mercedes continues to close the gap as that team has just picked up the performance since regulation changes. They are 49 points out. Christopher Bell over 30 points to the good. So he is not safe either now as we get ready for the start of this second stage, which is underway, and it is time to get amped. There you have the AMP segment here from Watkins Glen. You saw it all happen right there up in P3. Hopefully in NASCAR 21 can kind of implement the AMP segment a little bit better if we have more freedom in the replay system of the game with the cameras and whatnot instead of it always changing, and we can maybe fully have some TV style cameras. Now is a big mistake right there for myself through the S as I go into the guardrail. That was a lot better than what it could have been. We were nearly head on into the guardrail. Thank goodness we weren't. We got the car slowed down enough and corrected enough. It was just a little bit of left side damage, but now under attack from the 45 of Derek Kraus into the bus stop. Now there's actually some contact with him. We're going to send the 45 2311 driver spinning through the bus stop there. A big miscalculation for myself. Fortunately, he got the car back going in the right direction very, very quickly now, but lost quite a bit of track position, all because of my own mistake right there. I made the mistake through the S's, and I just misjudged how I was turning into the bus stop, and I was expecting Kraus to be clear by the time I turned in, and obviously I was not clear. So I turned right into his quarter panel and turned him around. That was 100% on me, and now, though, we had to just stay focused, move our way forwards, and by the time we were coming through to the final turn, already approaching the final lap here of stage 2. I was really hoping to put some pressure on Bubba Wallace, Justin Haley at least here in stage 2. Obviously didn't quite go to plan. So now at the inside of Jones, down into turns 1, they AI can break a lot deeper than I can in turns 1, and that's been a thing not only in NASCAR Heat 5 but all the way to like NASCAR Heat 2 or 3 if I remember correctly. So that's been a little bit frustrating, but we make it work nonetheless, because here we are up into the 3rd position. Got through the S's that time without wrecking the car into the guardrail or anything. Bubba Wallace, he's already exiting the bus stop down into the carousel, so he is on an absolute tear still here in Watkins Glen. I really don't know who is going to be able to match the pace of his car now as we come through the carousel for the final time here in this 2nd stage from Watkins Glen. So behind us, you can see how much of a gap we were able to open up in just a matter of 30 to 35 seconds or so. So we were really got a lot of speed in this car, I should say now. So hopefully we can carry that over into this final stage as we come through the penultimate turn down towards the final turn with the final time after finally getting things calmed down there after a bit of a wild 2nd lap of this 2nd stage. Hopefully we can get into this rhythm and bring this momentum into the start of stage 3 as we cross the line to get P3 here in stage 2. So obviously a great result for us there considering everything that happened. We got the McLaren duo of Jones and Elliott there 4th and 5th. Behind us, Haley really strong today in 2nd. And there you see Sam Mayer rounding out the top 10. No bubble drivers again in the top 10, so nothing changes with the playoff grid compared to what it was at the end of last episode in Iowa. So very interesting to see none of these bubble drivers being able to really capitalize on some potential crucial stage points here, which could lead them to a playoff run. So now we're going to get ready to go green for the start of the 3rd and final stage. CJ McLaughlin gained a spot on the pit lane over Christian Eckes there in the Red Bull now, as is Bubba Wallace and Justin Haley on the front row as they lead us back to the green flag here as we are underway with just 10 laps to go here in this 3rd stage. So not a whole lot of time, but quite a bit of time, basically stage 1 and 2 combined that we have here, and it's just about not making any mistakes like we did in stage 2, trying to put the pressure immediately to Justin Haley, but I had to pull out and get into the proper apex there. And now as we come through the exit of the S, as we look to use that draft right here from Eckes down this long back straightaway, and allow us to potentially make a move like this right here up the right-hand side of Haley down into the bus stop side by side. Who is going to back out first? It's going to be Haley there as I throttled up and said, you know what? I'm taking this spot whether you like it or not. Fortunately, we were able to do it without making any potential contact there with the 16 of Haley now as we run down the 23 of Bubba Wallace out of the carousel. But immediately I could tell this was not going to be an easy task to get to the back bumper of that 23 DoorDash Toyota Camry, and honestly you could tell right off the bat he's driving away from myself, and I hit my marks pretty well there through the penultimate turn. Could have been a little bit more aggressive and faster through there. Through the final turn I got a little bit rough through there as well, and you can see the 16 of Haley in that leaf filter Nutrien Chevrolet close up on the back of us again. So wasn't looking very good here as we went down into turns 1. As you can see, that 23 car driving away with less than 10 laps to go here from Watkins Glen. As you can imagine, concerns were building very, very quick. There isn't going to be a green flag pit stop necessary here because if a caution would have came out with a lap or 2 to go in stage 2 and ended it early, it would have been more laps in stage 3 and we would have had to do a potential green flag pit stop, but not the case this time. But now in lap 17, Iowa was pushing this car so hard trying to stick with Bubba Wallace. We had opened up over a second gap to Justin Haley. But now on lap 18, you can see that I was not really gaining on Bubba Wallace. It was almost a 2-second gap between himself and I now, with what, 6 laps to go when we come around across the line this time by. So it is going to be a very, very tough challenge, and I was already looking at just hoping for a caution, because now out of the final turn, 2.2 seconds, so to lap 19, I push way too hard through the bus stop, just trying to get everything I can get right there, and we nearly crash the car, nearly go around, and we go a little bit wide into the carousel entry, and we end up losing more time than we gained anyway. So I tried to calm down a little bit after this, but I was still pushing harder than I had been all race long. We had broken into the 107 second bracket, but out of the final turn, same lap, I'll lose some grip in the car, and we were now 2.7 seconds behind Bubba Wallace within the final 5 laps. But now to lap 20, same lap, you can see I got through the bus stop way, way better there into the carousel as well, just significantly better. And this lap right here kind of felt like the turning point where it was like, okay, hope is not lost yet, but at the same time, about a 2.5 second gap is going to be extremely hard to make up in 4 laps time. By the time we came through to cross the line, it was a 107.3. That was our fastest lap of the day. My record here is a high 106. It's like a 106.8 or something, I think is said on the screen. It might pop up before the race comes to a close here. But now through the carousel here, coming to the final 3 laps of this race, just abusing the track limits, doing whatever I can to try and find an advantage here. 107.292, our now new fastest lap on the day here. I wouldn't be surprised if Bubba had faster laps than that, probably even close to the 106s now. As yeah, sure enough, my record was at 106. I think it said 898, but now coming to 2.5 laps to go, and things were starting to spice up there as I go way too aggressive again through the bus stop. But Bubba Wallace was running down lap traffic because one of the drivers, I don't know who it was at this moment, but someone blew an engine and held up a bunch of drivers, and they got to the pit lane safely, but it still hurt a lot of people's pace, and now Bubba was closing in on lap traffic. We came through to 2 laps to go, another 107 second lap, but not going to be enough. A lap and a half to go, and it's still over 2 seconds between myself and Bubba Wallace. But here up in front of us, Max Gutierrez is holding up the 23. That was the first lap car Bubba was approaching. Immediately you see the gap significantly decrease. We're within about a second already here of the 2311 driver of Bubba Wallace, looking for his 4th win on the season. I'm looking for my 5th win on the season, which would be the most wins of anybody this season. It's currently tied at 4 between myself and our Gordon Hendrick Motorsports teammate Kyle Larson. A terrible spot to catch Gutierrez as Bubba already got past him. I get into the back of him. I said, get out of the way, dude. And now as we go down into the final turn, Bubba was able to open up enough of a gap to stay comfortably ahead of us now, to where he doesn't have to play defense on this final lap. So now we're going to have to hope that a miracle happens. That number 23 somehow needs to run down the next group of cars, which is a good 3 to 4 seconds ahead at this point here. So it's not looking promising now as we are underway for this final lap here in Watkins Glen. Through the S's, I was hitting everything as best as I could at this point, just knowing I need an absolute perfect lap if there's going to be any hope at all now, as there's a second between myself and Bubba Wallace. But I could tell very quickly we were both closing in on that group of cars up in front of us. Hope was not lost. It's similar to when Kyle Larson was having to work his way through the traffic here yesterday in real life. Now there was 4 cars he had to go through in the closing laps of that race to stay ahead of his Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Chase Elliott. And out of the carousel, I take it wide. The fuel light comes on. That does not matter, but Bubba is definitely going to get to the back of the 4 car of Haley Deegan before this race comes to a close. It's not over yet. Blaney up in the mix now through the penultimate turn. Bubba's trying to make a move to the left-hand side. He's got 4 cars to deal with, just like Kyle Larson did. As we go down into the final turn, he goes wide a little bit. He's stuck behind them now as we're going to come through with a big run down the front straightaway. We're only going to get 1 chance at it. Coming to the line, it's going to be a photo finish, and it's a 23 of Bubba Wallace just barely hanging on. And oh my goodness, that was unbelievable. You would have thought coming to the final lap he would have never been in that position. Look at how close that was. Unbelievable. I really just, at the same time, I was very excited but disappointed, because it's like, if maybe we would have found 1/10 of a second on any other lap throughout that 3rd and final stage, or if I didn't maybe oversend it through the bus stop on lap 19, we wouldn't have lost as much time, and we could have beat Bubba Wallace at the line with that extra 1/10 of a second or something. So in that sense, it was a bit disappointing there. As you see the playoff grids, by the way, for the Xfinity Series after today's episode. In the next one, we have the NASCAR Legend Series returning again, but just unbelievable right there at the line. I was shocked that we were even in the mix there to pass Bubba Wallace for the win. If there was no lap traffic involved, it wouldn't even have been a contest now. Bubba would have ran away with it easily. But you see a three-way tie for the most wins on the season between myself, Larson, Bubba Wallace. Then it's Christian Eckes, Chase Elliott, and Blaney both have 2 wins apiece. But that's not important right now. We're looking at the playoff grid with the bubble drivers. So not a whole lot change except for Chase Briscoe, who was the last driver in coming into this episode, is now the second guy out. Alex Bowman is back in by 1 single point over Kyle Busch going into Michigan with 4 races left in the regular season. Briscoe is out by 8. Gilliland gave up a few points, 4 points or so. He is 45 out, but it's not over yet for him, as well as Bell opens up more of a comfortable gap. But as always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode, and of course want to say thank you to the Going Racing members on the channel: MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasseur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Danny9302, Speed Demon 341, as well as Illinois Diecast. I appreciate you guys' support so much, as I always like to mention, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.